why Bitcoin follows a logarithmic curve. And once you understand that, then you understand a lot of the decisions of choosing different altcoins. So the reason why Bitcoin grows logarithmically fundamentally is because of inflation and because Bitcoin is a fixed asset. So what do I mean by that? So Bitcoin does pump out their own coin, right? Like Bitcoin, every time you mine Bitcoin, more Bitcoin is introduced into in circulation, right?
Yeah.
But most of Bitcoin is already out there, right? 90% of Bitcoin's already out there. So the rest of the remaining coin that are being mined will have to last for the remainder of Bitcoin's, for as long as time itself exists, right?
Yeah.
So more or less, you can view it as a static entity. Like the 1 or 2 Bitcoin being mined every single day or so is not going to make a whole lot of difference in terms of like affecting Bitcoin's price. It's just going to be most of the Bitcoins are released. So just imagine that Bitcoin, there's only a fixed number of Bitcoin in existence. Mathematically, it pans out that way. So think about it as if there's 3 apples, and there's only 3 apples in this world, and you can't create or destroy any apple. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
I got it.
Yeah. So let me just go ahead and draw that. So I'm just going to draw circles just for simplicity's sake, right? There's 3 apples that exist, or oranges. Let's just go with oranges, right? So the other thing to keep in mind is the US dollar, right?
Yeah.
So the US dollar, or all currencies in the world, right? They typically just print out more US dollar over time, right?
Yeah.
So let's say in this current year of 2020, right?
Yeah.
2022, there's only $3 in existence, right? So how much is each apple worth?
$1.
Yes. So one circle is worth, one orange is worth $1. So let's say you own 1 apple, right? You own 33% of all the apples in existence. Yeah. So even if the US dollar prints out, $1 extra, right? You still own 33% of all the apples in existence. Do you get what I'm trying to get at?
Yeah.
So that's why the prices fundamentally rise. Bitcoin prices will fundamentally rise because the US dollar is constantly being printed out. Do you get that? Do you understand that statement?
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah. So even if you have a 6, you still own that 1 orange. You will always own that 1 orange. It doesn't matter how many US dollars print out. You will still own 33% of all possible orange in the world. So if originally in 2020 you saw 1 orange worth $1, and then all of a sudden it's worth $2, right? Then you know that the US dollar is being printed out twice as much, right?
Yeah.
But you also know that you haven't bought or sold any Bitcoin. You still own 33% of all Bitcoins in existence. So it's just the US dollar carrying the price of Bitcoin. So to summarize, because Bitcoin is a fixed asset, right? In all intents and purposes, it is, right? Mm-hmm. So you can make the assumption that Bitcoin price will always continuously rise because all the governments of the world will always continuously pump out money. There's no government in the world who's playing a deflationary asset. It's not within their benefit to play a deflationary gameplay. All currencies in the world are printing out money. So no matter what, Bitcoin price will always continuously rise. It's the same thing with gold. Why does gold prices continuously rise? Now, granted, does Bitcoin have down periods and up periods? Of course, right? Yeah. That's with any asset. That's just the nature of like humans buying into the hype and humans selling into the hype. But if we were in a perfect world, then Bitcoin would not have a high or a low. It would just literally be a flat line like this, right? Yeah. It would just literally just keep going up. So So essentially, Bitcoin price will begin to taper off. Right, but it will continuously rise forever, so as long as there exists a U.S. dollar. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So as long as there exists, government currencies, fiat currencies, it will just continuously rise like this. Yeah. Because if people keep printing out more money, then obviously it's going to keep rising. Yeah. So that's why Bitcoin has a logarithmic curve. It's because first it has to initially catch up to what's its value, and then continuously catch up to and then over time the currency it shows its worth. But this is it's part technological advancement, right? This is all you're initiating something that is going to change the world, right? So there's actual real value in it, and then eventually it settles into its own price. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So that's the fundamental reason why it follows a logarithmic curve. So then the question is if so the only thing you have to worry about is if it follows a logarithmic curve, then what is the actual logarithmic curve, right? If you have the formula, then you will be able to figure out Bitcoin's prices, right? Yeah. So essentially, it's if I know the logarithmic formula, I will know both the high and the low of Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because since it follows like this, all you have to do is just figure out, what's the logarithmic curve for the high, what's the logarithmic curve for the low, and you'll always be able to know when is a good time to buy Bitcoin and when's a bad time to buy Bitcoin. You know what I'm trying to get at? Yeah. So people have been doing that for a long time. So I'll give you an example. So if I look up Bitcoin rainbow chart, right? The first thing it comes up with is this chart, which someone came up with in 2014. So someone has came up with the formula. If you look at this page, right, blockchain center Bitcoin rainbow chart, someone has came up with this logarithmic curve based on that data, right? So he stopped at 2014. This is before most people were in here, right? I haven't even looked at Bitcoin until 2015. So this person has came up with this formula before I even joined into crypto. But you gotta keep in mind that, like, if you were using only this data right here, right, it is extremely hard to extrapolate into the future, right? But he had all of this data, which is, even then, it's still quite hard. Like, over time, you'll be able to figure out the formula, like, because you have more and more data, right? The correct formula. But given his extrapolation, he was right all the way up until 2021. Right? So in 2021, we never hit 100K, if you notice right here. But he was right all the way up until that point. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I understand.
So so essentially his formula broke down, so it needs to be remodified. So essentially someone else took this and remodified it, and then this is where we get this, right? And then I took his thing and I further refined it. You get what I'm trying to get at? So I took it to another level. So this is like version 2.2. So I revised it a couple of times. So then you get this logarithmic formula. So now you'll know when Bitcoin is low, and now when you'll know when Bitcoin is high. You get what I'm trying to get at? So essentially that is the fundamental importance of understanding that. If you understand that Bitcoin moves in a logarithmic curve, then you'll be able to extrapolate everything else on top of that. You'll be able to make judgment calls on other altcoins and where Bitcoin is headed. So if we just take a quick look right now, right? And Bitcoin is currently in a green region, right? Which is like essentially what it's saying is that Bitcoin is cheap. Right? And if you look at back in the past, the only time that we ever broke this green line was in March, right? And that was like I guess you could say once in a generation type of event. So in this near short term, I don't expect Bitcoin to do that. I'm not saying that Bitcoin can't, but the lowest I realistically expect Bitcoin to go is 30K, right? So yeah, that's the sort of general summary for the logarithmic curve.